shining bright lotus.
So today's Dharma reflection. So I don't know if any of you have read the book that goes along with this series by Taigen Daniel Layton, Faces of Compassion. So if you haven't read it, I do recommend it. And this reflection, this talk is chapter 7, Avalokiteshvara. So there's lots of material out there about Avalokiteshvara. It's a good place to start with this one. So who is Avalokiteshvara? I asked myself. So, well, I said that name many times when we recite the Heart Sutra. So, Avalokiteshvara, an awakened one of great compassion. So there's a good answer there. An awakened one of great compassion. Well, I've said that line and I've recited the Heart Sutra very often and somewhat investigated, but I have to confess that it wasn't till fairly recently, actually, that I really investigated into Avalokiteshvara. I did not investigate. So who is this? What is this Avalokiteshvara? I'm going, well, is it, so is he a disciple or was he a historical figure or, well, and I want to speak from my understanding because it's always only from our own understanding. And that, for me, that makes it more real and more true in what's happening for me. And in each of us, it's what's happening for each of us. So what I've come to is that it describes boundless, compassionate awareness. So when we think of awareness or pure awareness or clear, deep heart mind, it's like vast and boundless. So for me, this is the same. It's vast and boundless energy. It's not necessarily something I can touch or say, well, here it is. Well, in a way that's true and in a way it's not true, but this is Zen, so there's always contradiction and always that kind of koan element. So for me, it's within us, this compassion. It's around us, it's above us, it's below us, it's everywhere. And the he that goes along with Avalokiteshvara is this is how I understand it, that it became personified in the time of Siddhartha Gautama, was he. So, and I think maybe as humans we do these things because to talk about the vastness or the unspeakable is challenging, and I think that's my practice because I do find it difficult to communicate. That's a practice, so I'm learning and to how can I share what is in my heart and what I understand. So Avalokiteshvara at that time was known as he. Maybe that's because it was patriarchal and more about the men. We don't hear so much about the nuns, do we? And as Buddhism traveled across Asia to many places, including China, Tibet, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, so there were some changes in this personification. So, for example, in China, when Buddhism went to China, the idea of Avalokiteshvara is still Avalokiteshvara, but came into a female form, and that could be because at that time, it was easier for those people to think of nurturing and compassion as something that was a feminine attribute. And also, so there were lots of, and if you look it up, there's lots of, well, I've got a few here. Well, actually, that's a Buddha. He's a green Buddha. But then I've got the white one is a Guanyin, actually, my friend bought from China. And she's a Tara, that one. And then the little tiny one I bought recently, because I like to take her sometimes when I travel. And I like that because I relate to her a bit more, because she's got 2 arms and legs and so on. Because there are also depictions of Avalokiteshvara that have 1,000 arms and many faces and heads. So as I understand that, the arms represent that the field of where Avalokiteshvara can reach is vast and can reach many beings and trees and people to help them and serve them, and to help in their suffering. And faces, so the face that faces forward, so I can see out there, or in the representation of a statue, or if there's a face that way, so there might be 4 faces, a face there and a face on the back on that kind of statue. So that can see what's going on over there and what's needed over there, or what's going on back there. So, and also those many arms might hold different things, like a bucket or a musical instrument or a tool of some kind, to be helpful in when Avalokiteshvara wants to help. Like the bucket you might symbolize carrying water to somebody, or an instrument might be that you play music to soothe somebody's suffering. So, and those arms are also, as I've read, represents upaya, skillful means. So that question for me would be, how can I serve then? How can I use skillful means? So somebody's suffering over there, and it might be that they really don't need somebody to go and say, how are you, or what's up? But it might be more skillful means to just sit close or just be present. So that would be skillful means. And another time it might be to ask a question or get some food for somebody, or so that what I would say is skillful means. So how did I meet Avalokiteshvara? So I would say I met Avalokiteshvara through Guanyin, which is the female personification. And I found a book in a thrift store in Denver, and it cost about $1. It was great. It's a great book by John Blofeld called The Bodhisattva of Compassion. And he's passed away. He's a English Buddhist scholar. I remember his name from when I was a teenager, ruffling around in the libraries, looking and reading different books. And he spent a lot of time in China, and one time this is what he wrote. He went back to China, and the locals were chanting and having a service, and there was a Guanyin statue, and so he joined in, and suddenly he felt something. He felt, and then he felt that she came to him, and she spoke to him, and he was like, his logical mind was like, well, this can't be so, it's a statue, but it did. She really came to him. And even in just his writing, she came to me and said, investigate. And so I did. And then I remembered my friend in Boulder. I used to visit her, and she's got a big Guanyin statue in her living room, and I thought it was great, but I didn't investigate. I just thought, wow, that's cool, I just kind of thought, wow, great goddess in the corner over there, but I didn't look into the origin or anything. And then also when I lived in Japan, I used to commute to Tokyo from a Yokohama suburb. So I get on the train in Totsuka, and the next station was Ofuna. And we go through Ofuna, and this it was like this big face, white face would appear through the window on a statue. And I was, whew, and I felt it and I was like, oh, okay. And then we go on to Tokyo and I go to work. And it was a statue outside, big, huge statue. And it was as if she glanced through the window and just was checking on me. And I didn't investigate because Japan is full of temples and statues and wonderful things, and fox statues guarding the shrine and bells that you can ring. And you just kind of go, oh, you get used to it. And so it wasn't until recently that I really investigated. And actually last night, talking of Muji, I went to, we have a restaurant in the village called Casa Nirvana, the House of Nirvana. So I went and had fish and chips and and I'd never seen it before. There's lots of nice things in the restaurant, statues and pictures, and there's a beautiful wooden statue on a shelf quite high up, and there she was looking at me saying, I'm with you. So there you go. So, okay, so my next question to do with this is, what is compassion? So what is compassion? So as I understand, it's seeing and feeling the suffering of my own suffering and others' suffering and wanting to help. So wanting to help. So that's what Avalokiteshvara is. The one who wants to help, who wants to serve. So what are some of the ways, I ask myself, that we can do that? So one that comes up for me very strongly and is listen. Don't butt in, just listen. And if somebody else is there and needs to share, like I have quite a few old folk friends here who live alone. And so they'll come and they really want to talk and they want, like, oh, golly, I need to fix the thing and how am I going to do it? And so I listen. And I just think that's really important. And that brings us to, can you listen without an opinion, without a judgment? And somebody might even say something that triggers you, but can I just listen and not make a story out of it? Can you just listen? And that could also mean listening to things in the world that we might say, oh, the road's too busy or there's too many cars, but can we just listen and let it be? And the other way is acts. What action can we take? So what can I do? Well, as I said, these people that live alone, I'm fortunate at the moment. I do have a beautiful partner and I have good neighbors and I get support. But some live alone. And so I know somebody was sick recently. And so I took them some groceries and they were really grateful. And so what can we do? Or there was somebody stuck. That's right. They got stuck in the mud. We had a lot of rain. And so I said, oh, come on, we've got a truck and we've got a big metal cable so we could go and help them. And the other thing in that, the other one is to be kind to myself. How can I be kind to myself? What can I do so I made myself a salad. That's better than having bread for me. So I made myself a salad. What can I do that is good for me? Oh, moving my body. Because if I can't be kind to myself, how can I be kind to somebody else? And the other thing that comes up around that I like is when I studied with Byron Katie, there's one exercise is, can you do 3 things today? A secret. Okay, so if it's for another person particularly, can you do, or even one, and they don't know that you're doing it? So because that would mean, for me, that's something like, sometimes like, oh, I'm so good, I can get up myself a bit, like, ooh, I helped out, ooh. And so if I can do something and they don't know, it's only the intention in my heart and what I actually did, like we have chickens, and sometimes I sell some eggs and I give some eggs. So I might leave a box of eggs for somebody that doesn't usually buy them, and I just say to I'll make sure they get some eggs somehow, and I don't say where they're from, just a way of doing that. And there's lots of things like that. And it's challenging. And if they find out, then you have to do another one. It's a brilliant exercise. So, so I invite you to consider what you could do, and also to remember those that have done things for us, because I think also Avalokiteshvara transmits through people. I do. And there have been lots of things in my life where that's happened. When I trained as a caregiver, I had to do a training when I worked in Scotland for a while, and in this agency I had to do an extra training, and we had to stay in this house together for a week, and it was in Wales, and there was snow and the train stopped. They said, "Oh, we can't go anymore." And so I took the bus to the next town, and then they said, "Oh no, we're not going anywhere else. You've got to get off the bus." And I'm in this South Welsh town, and it's a bit funky and poor, and I couldn't get a taxi, and there wasn't anywhere to stay. I didn't know where to go. So I went and had a coffee in McDonald's, and then I went outside, and I was just about to just cry my eyes out. And so this guy came up and he said, "Oh, love," he said, "Oh, you're not doing so well, are you? Are you all right?" And I said, "No." And so I told him. He said, "Well," he said, "my daughter's in the car. Come on, get in." And he said he didn't know where it was. I told him the address, but it was high snow, dark, it was nighttime. So with great difficulty, he took me to the door of the house. And I said, "Well, I can find it now. Drop me." He said, "No, I'm taking you. I want to make sure you're in there and safe." I didn't know what his name was. I didn't anything. He was just an angel, Avalokiteshvara. And there have been many like that in my life. I'm sure you've had them, and maybe it's good to remember them. So, okay, I'm going to read a little bit from the book of John Blofeld. So, in the Indian origin and account of the male Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, Guanyin has long been depicted in China and neighboring countries in a womanly form. The sutras introduced from India account metaphorically for the origin of various bodhisattvas. Thus it is written that Avalokiteshvara, bearing a lotus flower, was born from a ray of light that sprang from Amitabha Buddha's right eye, and that this miraculously born being straightway uttered the syllables Om Mani Padme Hum. So that little mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, is, I'm going to sing it a little bit. I really like singing mantras. It's really good, little simple things, and you might want to consider it, like when you're in the car or doing the dishes or so. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. So that little verse comes from Tibet, and that's connected with Avalokiteshvara. So you probably all know it. So you could, if you need some help, you could just sing that song even quietly to yourself. So let's do a little compassion meditation. So I invite you to join. And just to close your eyes. And imagine great light all around you and within you, in your body, in the sky, in the window, everywhere, within and without, great light. And as you feel this light, see this light, see in your mind a friend or a relative, somebody that is in need. They need some help, your love, your care, or somebody's love. They just could do with a bit of help. And as you see them in your mind, or you can say it out loud if you want, just see them and say, may you be happy. May you be safe. May you be healthy. And may you be at peace. And just notice the light, feel the light all around you, inside you. And you see the light on them. And then see your neighbors, people down the street, people in the cars, people in your community, in your county, in your town, in your country, wherever you are, Scotland, Portugal, United States, California, Connecticut, Wisconsin, New Mexico. I might have forgotten some. Canada, I think. Wherever you are. And repeat the words again. Let's say, may we be happy. May we be safe. May we be healthy. And may we all be at peace. And now, bring that light to your heart, to your caring for yourself, and say, may I be happy, may I be safe, may I be healthy, may I be at peace. And then just when you're ready, open your eyes, come back, and we're going to do we have a time for just one more thing. There was a lovely little video, I don't know if you saw it, well actually it was quite long, of Thich Nhat Hanh that Ekai had put up, chanting. Like I said, it's good to do some chanting. So there's a chant that we have in the Sutra book, page 10 in the Shining Bright Lotus Sutra book, and 14 in the Hollow Bones book. And it's called the Enmei Juku Kanon Gyo. And I'm going to say the English first. So, Kanzeon, salutation and devotion to Buddha. We are one with Buddha in cause and effect related to all Buddhas and to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Our true nature is eternal, joyous, selfless and pure. Let us chant every morning Kanzeon with Nen. Every evening Kanzeon with Nen. Nen is pure awareness. Nen, Nen arises from mind. Nen, Nen is not separate from mind. So in the Japanese it goes. And if you have it there, I invite you to say it along if you want. We'll do it 3 times. Kanzeon namu butsu yo butsu uin yo butsu en bupo so en jo raku ga jo chonen kanzeon bonen kanzeon nen nen ju shinki nen nen furishin Jo chonen kanzeon bonen kanzeon nen nen ju shinki nen nen furishin kanzeon namu butsu yo butsu uin yo butsu en bupo so en jo raku ga jo chonen kanzeon bonen kanzeon nen nen ju shinki nen nen furishin. May you be at peace. May we all be at peace. Swaha.
Shining bright lotus.